Let's change the default font size in Outlook 2019. If we go to the File menu at the top, we'll click on that, and then we'll go down to where it says Options. And you get a new box that pops up. Then we're going to click on Mail, and then we're going to go to where it says Use Stationery to change default font and styles. So click on that. And now we see the default font for new mail messages, replying or forwarding messages. We also see the option for plain text for when you receive email from older email servers that use plain text instead of the rich text that we use now. So I'm going to click on the new mail messages font, and I'm going to choose Arial, and I'm going to choose 14 point. Now we see that sample text show up, and it changed when I did that. You could also change the color of underlines, the font color, whatever it is that you'd like. But I'm going to leave the default text to Arial 14 just to make sure that it works. We'll click OK, and then we'll create a new email message. And now I'll just go ahead and type something. And we can see Arial 14 show up where the font is. Now I'm going to close this and reopen again just to make sure that it sticks so we know that it's the new default font. We've closed Outlook. I'm opening it back up again. And now I'll click on a new email. And we can see right there, Arial 14, it is still the same font and the same font size. So it did change the default. Now if we go to the View tab at the top, under View Settings, we have this other option called Conditional Formatting. And what this does is it gives us the ability to change the font and size for unread messages, expired email, overdue email, etc., etc. So if we want to do that, we can click on Font, and we can change the size, the color, anything that we'd like. Except for it doesn't allow you to change the size by individual number. It's just small, normal, big, or bigger compared to what the regular font is. So for instance, if I choose bigger and we click OK, we can see it's going to use 16 point and then this other font option. And it's going to happen on all unread messages. So if I click OK there, I'm just going to mark this one as unread just to show the difference. And look at that. It shows the larger font. There's another way that you can change the font based on the relationship of the email itself, whether it has been read, etc. So that's how you change the default font in Outlook 2019. Outlook 2019 as well as 16 has a feature called Conversations. And we can see if we expand this little triangle here, it shows us all the different conversations with this one particular thread. So we can turn conversations on or off simply by going to View and going to where it says Show as Conversations and unchecking the box. And you can choose this folder or all mailboxes. It's up to you. And now we see the emails as separate emails instead of seeing the email at the top with the parent and then all the responses underneath it. If you do decide you want to use Conversations after all, you can recheck the box. But there are some additional settings that you can set. So if we click on the drop down under Conversation Settings, we can see the option to show messages from other folders is checked. So basically what that means is that if you have deleted a particular email in this chain or moved it to another folder within your email, then it will show back up again in your inbox when that person responds back. If you click on Show Senders above the subject line, then you can see that the sender's name is above the subject itself rather than the other way around. We also have the option to always expand a selected conversation. And basically what that means is that if we minimize it, the next time we go into this, it will automatically expand it. And then we also have Use Classic Indented View. So we can see that everything is indented the way it was in previous versions of Outlook. So if we take that off, you can see how it goes back again. So that's how we turn on or off conversations as well as make changes to them in Outlook 2019. Let's take a look at how we can go into Outlook 2019 and add an account manually. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it, and I'm going to put in name here. And now it's going to look for accounts, any accounts that might have been added in the past, and it'll see if it can find any. I'll go ahead and delete that one. Let's go ahead and add in this other one. Now, I could go ahead and connect automatically, but what I want to do for this video is choose the manual option. So let's go ahead and click Connect. And it's given me a few options here. We have the Office 365, Outlook.com, and Exchange options. We also have Gmail, POP, and IMAP. So let's go ahead and choose the Office 365 way. And it said that it found it automatically. Let's go ahead and cancel that. And we'll go ahead and load Outlook 2019 one more time. And we'll do the same thing. But this time we're going to choose a different option. So we're going to choose the Exchange option. So we're back in our list. Let's go ahead and choose Exchange. And it added it successfully as an Exchange. Even though this is an Office 365, it still gave us the account added as an Exchange. Now, if we want to, we can also add additional email addresses, but I'm going to go ahead and click Done. And let's take a look at the settings that Outlook 2019 now allows us to change under the account setup. So if we go into File, Account Settings, and we can see our account is added, so let's go ahead and click Change. And we'll click on More Settings. So we don't see a lot of the same options that we saw before in Outlook 2016 or in previous versions of Outlook. Let's go ahead and click Next, and that's pretty much it. Let's take a look at our data file, and there is the location where the data is going to be saved. So in previous versions, it allowed us to go in and make changes to the manual connection to Outlook, and it also allowed us to go in and use certificates that may not have been public certificates. But in this new version of Outlook 2019, we don't see any of those other options by default. The manual way we used to add accounts using RPC over HTTP, using Outlook Anywhere, is no longer supported, and you can't even go into the registry to manually overwrite it like you could in Outlook 2016 or 2013. So you're really going to be stuck with MAPI at this point, which means that you're going to have to use a newer Exchange server or Office 365 going forward. So unfortunately, they took away some of the abilities to manually configure our connections to our Exchange servers. So that is the new Outlook 2019. Try not to shoot the messenger. In Outlook 2019, I'm going to show you how to open up a PST file. In a previous video, we exported our email to this backup PST file. So if we go to the properties, you can see it is a .pst. And I'm going to show you how to open it within Outlook. So it's a fairly simple thing if you know where to look. Go to File, Open and Export, then choose Open Outlook Data File, and then you need to find the file. So go to the desktop, there is our PST file, and you click OK, and then you scroll down and you're going to see Outlook Data File. That's what it's going to be called. Go ahead and expand on it, and there is our Outlook file that we've backed up previously, and now we want to take a look. And when you're done, you can just right-click on it, and you can choose to close Outlook Data File, and it goes away. In Outlook 2019, you'll see a Favorites box at the top, which is a shortcut to all of your favorite different items. And let's just say, hey, you know what? I don't need specific ones in here anymore. I want to move those out. So I can expand my favorites and choose which one I no longer want. I can right-click, and I can choose Remove from Favorites. So you can do this even with the default items that it comes with, like deleted items, for instance, is a default folder that shows up in your favorites. You can just right-click, and you can just choose Remove from Favorites. Now, that does not remove it from Outlook itself. The deleted items are still here under whichever name it is that you want to show. I have multiple accounts here, so you see more than one. So let's say there's a sales group in here. I don't want to see that in my favorites anymore. Just right-click, Remove from Favorites. And if you want, you can get rid of all of the favorites altogether. So if you don't want to see the favorites anymore, you can just collapse them like that. Of course, if you've removed all of the options from your favorites, then you're not going to have a lot left to deal with. So let's go see what happens when we remove them all.
We'll right click, we'll choose remove, and look at that. Now the favorites itself is gone. As soon as I just change my mind and say, oh, I'd like to see something in favorites, I right click, I choose add to favorites, and the favorites box pops back up. So the only way to remove the favorites option is to delete the last one from the list, and then the favorites goes away. So that's how we remove favorites in Outlook 2019.
In Outlook 2019, sometimes our views get really messed up and we need to reset everything back to the way it was. So go to the View tab and click on Reset View. Click Yes. And that takes care of part of it. So that gets us back to where we see on the left-hand side our different emails, and on the right-hand side we see the emails themselves, which we can scroll through. Now we also should go to where it says Folder pane under View, and instead of being off or minimized, you can click on Normal, and then our folder panes come back. We see our sent, our deleted, all that kind of thing. And then the reading pane, if you want, you've got right, bottom, and off. So if you want to change that to bottom, you can change that there, or you could change that back to the right-hand side, whichever way you like best. So that's how you turn all of the views back to defaults in Outlook 2019. I've just installed Office 2019, and I'm going to go into Outlook and set up Outlook using my email account. So we'll go ahead and click on Outlook, and a wizard is going to pop up, and we'll go ahead and fill in our information. So I've got an Office 365 account. It'll be pretty easy to get this set up. You don't have to do a lot. And let's go ahead and put in a different account. And we can choose advanced options if we want by setting up the account manually, but let's do it automatically first, and then we'll come back and do a manual one in a separate video. So go on ahead and click there. We'll go ahead and put in our password. And now we're connecting. So it said that it was successfully added. You see our Office 365 account. Go ahead and click Done. It does pop up with a web version, but we don't really need to get any more information about this. We'll just go ahead and close that. And there is our email. It is all set up and ready to work. So we can go ahead and take a look at our calendar. Contacts, don't have it in there yet. Tasks. And if we hit on the three dots, you can add notes as well. And you can add folders. So that's how you set up an Outlook 2019 account if you have an Office 365 or other Microsoft Exchange account. Let's see how we can share a calendar in Outlook 2019, and this also works with Office 365 when using the Outlook client. So we see that our calendar is set, and we see the calendar itself here, but now we want to share it with Kate. So I'm going to click on where it says Share Calendar. There it is. So now I'm going to click on To, and I'm going to choose Kate from the list, and I'll click the option to send. But first, let's take a look at the different things that are in this subject, such as request permission to view recipient's calendar. So when you send this, you can request permission rather than just going ahead and sending it to them. So that way, if they don't know it's coming, then you have that option. We also have the allow recipient to view your calendar, and that makes sure that that box is checked. Otherwise, you're not going to really share it. Under details, we see availability only, limited details, or full details. So if you want them to see everything, then you can click on full details. So I'm going to click on send because I want Kate to have full details to my calendar. Click yes, and now it's sent. Now I'm going to open up Kate's email and make sure that I can now view it. I'm in Kate's email in the web version of Outlook, just so you can see both kinds here. And I see the sharing invitation. I click accept. It's adding the calendar. So now when I go to calendars, we see that there's more than one calendar now. We see under people's calendars, we see my name as well as my calendar for Kate. So now let's go back to my calendar. and we'll create an item here and just make sure it shows up in Kate's. So if I go to a future date and I click on New Appointment, and I'll just say Meeting in Conference Room. Click Save, and we see it shows up in my calendar. Now we go back into Kate's calendar, and look at that, it just popped up, Meeting in Conference Room. If I go and uncheck my calendar, we should see it disappear, and it does. All right, now it looks a little bit different when we share it from the web version back to Outlook. So let's see what that looks like. We're going to share Kate's calendar back to me. And we'll say, can edit. So we see a few different options here than we saw before. We say can view when I'm busy, can view titles and locations, can view all details, and it can edit. So basically can edit can do this as well as everything else. So click that and click share. So let's go back into my email. There we go. And we'll click on calendar. And now we'll go to where it says shared calendars. I'm going to right click on that and choose to add calendar. And I'll say from address book. And I'm going to choose Kate. Click OK. So now we see that Kate's calendar shows up as a separate calendar on the right-hand side. And we can see my calendar is blue and hers is green. You can certainly change that if you want as well. You can change the colors around. And if we go to the 4th, there's my original appointment. There we go. Let's go back into Kate's calendar and create a new appointment by clicking on New Event. There it is. And we'll say Meeting in Conference Room 2. And we'll make sure that we have the right date and time. And we'll click Save. There we go. So both of these are showing up in the web version right next to each other, even though they're two different calendars. One shows up in green and the other shows up in blue. Green is for the other person. We'll minimize that, go into Outlook. And now we see that appointment showing up in green as a separate calendar on the right-hand side and blue on the left-hand side. So that's how you share calendars in Outlook 2019 as well as Outlook on the web and using Office 365. We're in Outlook 2019, and one of the things that really irritates people is this focused and other that is set up by default in Microsoft Outlook 2019 as well as 2016. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense to a lot of people, so we can turn it off very easily just by going to the View tab at the top and clicking on where it says Show Focused Inbox. So if we click on that, then all of our emails end up in the inbox, and you'll see that the focused option is now gone away. If you want it to come back, just click it again, and you'll see it come right back again.
We are in Outlook 2019. Let's show how you can delegate access to have other people read your email as well as respond as you. So we click on the File menu, and this works a lot for administrative assistants who they need to do this kind of thing for their boss. Under Info, we'll click on Account Settings, and we'll click Delegate Access. So we'll go ahead and we see that Jane Doe Smith already has full access to this particular person's email. So let's go ahead and click Add, and we can pick anybody else in the list. Let's go ahead and click John Smith, click Add, click OK. And here we see a list of different things that we want to allow John Smith to do. So by default, under the calendar, we see that the editor can read, create, and modify items. You can also go to Author, which is a little bit less, Reviewer, which is even less, until you get to the features that you want. You also can check or uncheck the Delegate receives copies of meeting-related messages sent to this person. So basically, if I get this particular message, it's also going to get a message copied over to anybody I delegate, in this case, both Jane and John. Under Tasks, Inbox, Contacts, and Notes, go ahead and give the appropriate rights that you want for those users. So let's just go ahead and give full access to John. And we'll go ahead and click OK and click OK. Now we'll log in as John and we will double check that we can do what we need to do. So we'll change to our John Smith profile and click OK. We'll click Verify to get our code in, and we'll also add the phone number as well. When we open up the email for John, we can scroll to the bottom and we see, look at that. There is the email under Robert. Click on there, and we should be able to see all the emails, and there they are. Now we can just confirm that we can send email as Robert, even though we're logged in, once again, as John. Let's click on New Email and look at the top where it says From. So it says From, we hit the drop down, we can either send it from John or from Robert. So let's say we're going, even though we're logged in as John, we're going to go ahead and say we're going to send it to Robert, from Robert, and we're going to send it to Jane. And we'll just go ahead and type in test, and we'll go ahead and hit send. So if we scroll down to the Robert email, we go to the sent items, we can see the item was actually sent from the Robert at ClickX3 account, not from the John account, even though we're logged in as John. So the delegation of access actually worked. So that's how we do that in Outlook 2019. And in this particular case, we're using Office 365, but this also works with Microsoft Exchange. In Outlook 2019, we have the option to have our emails read to us. So as long as you have your sound turned on, you'll be able to test this out. Let's go ahead and click on the Read Aloud option.
This is an email I sent to myself to show the read out loud capabilities of Outlook 2019. Thanks for listening.
So there you go. There's what it sounds like. Now, there are some controls. There's this little toolbar that shows up, and we can certainly play it again, but let's make a few changes. Let's go to the settings option, and from here we're going to change the speed that it reads the email. We can also change the voice as well. Let's go ahead and start by having it read a little bit slower, and we'll click the play button once again.
This is an email I sent to myself to show the read out loud capabilities of Outlook 2019. Thanks for listening.
All right, so that was much slower than last time. We can go faster or slower. We can also change the voice. We've got one other voice that we can hear. Let's go ahead and also change the speed once again, go a little faster, and hit play.
This is an email I sent to myself to show the read out loud capabilities of Outlook 2019. Thanks for listening.
And there we go. And just for fun, let's play it at the fastest speed possible.
This is an email I sent to myself to show the read out loud capabilities of Outlook 2019. Thanks for listening.
Ooh, that'd be a tough one to follow. So that's how you set up the read out loud or read aloud feature in Microsoft Outlook 2019. We're in Outlook 2019, and let's take a look at how we can add a hyperlink into our signature. So let's go to File, then choose Options, then we'll click on Mail. And in a previous video, we set up a signature. And there's our signature. So if you haven't done it, you can check out the video or just click on New, and then you'll have the option to add in the signature. All right, so once we do that, we want to add in maybe a link to our website. So let's go ahead and put in http:// the link to our website. All right, so there it is. Now we can click on the link all the way to the right. There's a little picture of a link and the world for the World Wide Web. And we can go ahead and put in our same address. So instead of typing it in, however, we can just go ahead and copy it and then click there, and it automatically adds it in for us. So there we go. So there is the link to our site. All right, the other way you could do this, which may be more appealing, is you can go visit our website. And then what you can do is you can highlight that area and then click on the link again and then paste in the address, or just type in the address, whatever. And then once you do that, then you can go ahead and click the OK button after you click in the text to display to get that to pop up. Now the gray turns to blue, click OK, and now it shows visit our website, but it actually will take you to the website of techpublishing.com in my case, because that's what I put in. And I can get rid of this ugly HTTP stuff.
There we go. And another option is you can go in and add in a picture, and you can link it that way as well. So I've opened up Microsoft Word, click on Insert, and we'll say Online Pictures. And these are all pictures you can use free of charge. And we're going to put in, we'll just say a picture of a computer. And a whole bunch of computers come up. We'll go ahead and take this first one. And let's just go ahead and delete all this extra information. We don't need that. So let's take the picture. We'll right click on it. We'll choose copy. And we'll go back into our signature. And we'll just go ahead and choose paste. And there it is. Now we can highlight the picture of our computer. And we can go to the link and just go ahead and type in once again our website, click OK, and now the link is embedded in the computer itself. So let's go ahead and click OK, and let's give it a test and make sure everything works okay. So we'll click on New Email, and there is our link to the website here, and there is our link to the website here. And we'll go ahead and we'll just send it to ourselves, and that will make it easy. And we'll just put in test. There we go. And then our email will show up, and we'll be able to check this out. Okay, so see, there's the little hand that goes over, and there's a little hand that goes over there. So if we click on the first one, visit our website, then Tech Publishing comes up. And if we click on the picture of the computer, and Tech Publishing comes back up again. And of course, the volume was not turned down, so you get to hear me talking about another video. So that is how we link both a picture or basically a hyperlink in our signature in Outlook 2019. We're in Outlook 2019, and we're going to set up a second email account. We've already set up our first account. Let's say we want to add another second account. So we'll click on File at the top, click on Account Settings, and from here we'll click on New. So we get a new box will pop up. We'll go ahead and populate that with our other account. Go ahead and click Connect. And we'll add our password. And click Sign In. Now, sometimes, depending on how the organization is set up, it might also require additional information. So we'll go ahead and click Next. And it'll ask for an email address, which we've already used to confirm. You would just click the Set It Up Now button and send an email. Then you can also set up the phone. So we'll click on Set It Up Now. And once you've entered the code that was sent to you on your phone and your email, you can go ahead and click Finish. And now we can add an additional account if we want, or we can just click Done. Go ahead and close. And now we can see there is our additional account. And if we click on the little arrow, we can see there's our inbox, sent box, just like we have on our primary account. So that's how you set up a secondary account in Microsoft Outlook 2019. Outlook 2019 has the ability to have us add pictures into our signature line. In previous versions, this was something we had to do in another product like Microsoft Word or something like that. But now we can do it right in the signature line itself, which is great. So we'll go into Mail, and we'll click on Signatures where it says Create or Modify Signature Message. And let's go ahead and click New, and let's give this one a Signature 3, Sig 3, and there it is, nice and blank. So let's go ahead and add in our basic, thanks, and then our name. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to add some artwork, some pictures, make it fancy. So what we can do is we can go down to Microsoft Word, and we can find all different kinds of pictures in there that we can add in. So let's go ahead. I've added a picture in here previously. Let's go ahead and get rid of that one. Let's click on Insert, and we can either choose pictures, online pictures, shapes, whatever it is that we want. We can even go into a painting program and add anything there. We can copy and paste in there. So let's go ahead and add in some online pictures, and we'll just add in an airplane here, and we'll just double click on that, and there's our airplane. Let's get rid of this extra stuff that we don't want. We don't need unknown author into our signature. All right, then let's go ahead and we're going to add some other stuff. Let's see what else we can do here. We can go ahead and click on icons and double click there. Looks like a men's room icon, unfortunately. And let's go ahead and add some shapes. So we can add in, there we go, we can add in a shape. All right, so we can even move it around a little bit as well. And we have some other options here. We can see 3D models, smart art, chart. Like I said, if you go to any sort of painting program, you can copy any artwork as well. All those different things you can do. So let's go ahead and just add the picture of the airplane. That'll be super simple here. All we got to do is to right-click on it and choose Copy. And we're back in our signature. Let's go ahead and paste in. What we're going to do is right-click, choose Paste Options, and let's choose this middle option, Keep the Source Formatting. And there's the picture of our airplane. Now, once our airplane is in there, we can click on it, and it looks like we can make it larger or smaller, but we really can't. Nothing happens when you try to drag left or right, up or down. So if you wanted to make the change, you could do it in Word and then paste it back in, and it'll look like it does in Word. So we can go ahead and do that. If we want, we can also paste in, say, a hyperlink, for instance. So to go view our website. There we go. Then we highlight that, and we click on the little link on the right-hand side, and then we click OK, and now we have a hyperlink. So we've got our signature, we've got the our logo, and now we've also got a hyperlink to our website. So all kinds of great stuff. And then we go to New Messages, say, hey, use Signature 3 for our new messages. Click OK. And we'll click OK again. Now we'll click on a new email message. And look at that. There is our airplane. There's the link to our website, and there's the signature itself. So that's how you add photos and other items, other types of artwork into your signature in Outlook 2019. We're in Outlook 2019. I'm going to show you how to change signatures. Maybe you might want more than one signature. Maybe you want to change it because your name has changed, something like that. So we'll click on Options after clicking on File. And then we'll go up to Mail, and then we'll click on Signatures. Let's say we want to add a second signature, and that might be because we have more than one business, and we want to have a different signature for each one. So we'll just go ahead and click New, and we'll just call this one Sig2 for Signature 2, but you can call it anything that you want. So Sig2 is now blank, so I'm just going to say thanks, and then put in my name, and then say President of the World. Okay, so that's a different signature than my other one. So I can see on New Messages, I'm going to have my Signature 1, and on Replies, I'm going to have Signature 2. Click OK, click OK. Now I'm going to click on a new email. And we can see on the new email, we see Signature 1. Let's go ahead and click that. Let's do a reply on this other email. And we can see there's my Signature 2. So that worked out just fine. Now if I want, I can also change the signature on the fly. So let's say, oh, I meant to do my other signature on this one. Just go up to where it says Signature and just change it to the other one. So you can just switch back and forth as often as you want. You can also click on signatures and create a whole new one altogether. That's how you change signatures in Outlook 2019. We're in Outlook 2019 from Microsoft. I'm going to show you how to reset your password. Now in this case, it's resetting the password in Office 365, but this also works with Microsoft Exchange. So in Outlook, we're going to go to the File menu, and from here we see under Info at the top, we see a link to go to Office 365. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to the Office 365 website, or if it's on Exchange, you'll see the link to the Exchange server. Now, if you don't have a public access to the Exchange server, then you may not see this here. You may have to edit this in your registry settings or through group policy.
So I've gone ahead and clicked on the link and logged into Office 365, and you can see a duplicate of what we were just looking at in Outlook. It looks almost exactly the same. So now what we want to do is we want to go to the top right and click on your initials, and then click on My Account. That'll open a new page where we click on Security and Privacy. Now we can click on Password. We'll enter our old password, and we'll create our new password, and then we'll click Submit. Once you've done that, you can go back to your Outlook, and you're going to need to restart it. So we'll go ahead and close it. We'll open it back up again. It'll prompt you for the new password, and your password will have been changed. When we set up Outlook 2019 and also previous versions of Outlook, we only get the last 3 months of email by default. And if you are looking for email that's older than 3 months, then you've got a problem. We need to go fix that. So it's a pretty easy fix. We'll go up to the File at the top, go to Account Settings, and choose our Account Settings option. Let's go ahead and choose the account where we want to make this change, and we'll just double click on it. And we see Used Cache Exchange Mode by default is turned on. That means it's going to download this email to your local computer. And by default, you say, hey, look at that. It's only going to download 3 months. I want all of my emails. So all I got to do is scroll all the way to the right where it says All, click Next, and click Done. And I'll go ahead and close. And you'll see little by little your email is going to get downloaded. It sometimes takes a few minutes. It's going to get downloaded to your Outlook file, and then you'll be able to then scroll down and see your email that's older than 3 months. So that's how you get that extra email information in Outlook 2019 as well as previous versions of Outlook. We're in Outlook 2019. Let me show you how to export just your calendar to a backup file, or in case you want to email that off to someone. So let's go ahead and go to the File menu at the top, go to Open and Export, and from here we'll have the option to import export, and we'll choose to export to a file. Let's go ahead and click Next. Let's choose the PST file. That's the one that Outlook recognizes the most. And we'll choose just the calendar. So instead of choosing the root at the top, we're going to choose just the calendar. Now if you hit the expand button, we see there's multiple different calendars here. So if I want, I can also choose birthdays, United States holidays, or I can just choose the calendar itself. So if I don't want these sub-calendars, I'll just uncheck Include Subfolders, and then that way I'll only get my calendar. If I want those other calendars as well, then I'll just go ahead and choose Include Subfolders. But in this case, I don't need those. Let's go ahead and click Next. And from here, we're going to browse to the location where we want to save it, and I'll just put in that it is my calendar. And we'll choose OK. And as far as the options go, since this is the first time I've exported using this name, there are no duplicates. But if I do this a second time, then I may want to choose whether or not to export the duplicates. Let's go ahead and click Finish. And now we get the option to password protect it. So I don't need to put in a password, but you can certainly do that if you'd like. Go ahead and click OK. And we'll go ahead and hit the Minimize button. And now we see our calendar. And if we right-click and go to Properties, we see it's a very small calendar in this particular case because I don't have a lot in it for demo purposes, but it does show you that the calendar is now been protected. So if you want to go to see the calendar, then you can go to File, and you can choose Open and Export. You can choose an Open Calendar file, but in this particular case, it's not the PST file that we exported to, so don't choose that option. Choose the Open Outlook Data file instead, and we'll choose the calendar file. Now what we can do is we can go down to where it says calendar at the bottom, and we can choose to see that calendar. So we go ahead and take a look for where it says Outlook data file. So here's our calendar Outlook data file. This is the one that we imported. Whereas these other calendars all have names next to them, or in this case it says holidays and birthdays, etc., etc. So we just want to look at the one that says Outlook data file. That's the one that we just exported and then opened. So if we check that box, then we can see that the new calendar off to the right here is the one from the Outlook data file, as you see here. So that's how you export and open an Outlook calendar in Outlook 2019. We're in Outlook 2019. I'm going to show you how to export all your email, your contacts, your calendar, everything, all off to a single file that you can then archive. So go to the File menu at the top, and from then we'll go to Open and Export. Then we'll go to the Import Export button, and we'll get a wizard that pops up. So here we're going to choose Export to a File. So let's go ahead and click Next. And we're going to choose a PST. And that way we can open it again in Outlook at a future time. Now we want to choose the root at the top. If we choose the root, then it will choose all the folders underneath it by default. So let's go ahead and choose that. And we'll include the subfolder, which will make sure that box is checked as well. Let's go ahead and click Next. And then we're going to choose the location and the name of our file. So let's go ahead and change it to the desktop. Click OK. And we're going to choose the option replace duplicates with items imported or do not export duplicate items. So the difference between this is if you've already exported this once, if you choose the replace button, it will automatically overwrite any previous files. So if you believe that the file might be corrupt or some of the emails inside might be corrupt, go ahead and choose this one. If you want to allow the duplicate items to be created, you can go ahead and choose that, or just say, hey, don't export duplicates at all. It doesn't matter which one you choose the first time you do it. Go ahead and click Finish. Now, if you want to add a password to secure the file, you can do that here. Let's go ahead and click OK. You don't need a password in this particular case. And then we'll see a little box that pops up and gives us a message as to the progress of how the export is going. Now, if you don't see that box, it's just because it's done already. And if you have a lot of email, you'll see it will take a while. But in my case, I didn't really have that much email. It was just a test account, so it happened very quickly. And you can see it's only 8 megabytes in my case. Now, if you have gigabytes of data, of course, it could take 20 or 30 minutes to export all that information. So if we right-click on it and choose Properties, then we can get an idea of the size that we have and the date information. So once we've got this set up as a PST file, we can then go back into our email and we can delete all of our old email because there's just no reason to keep it anymore since we've got this backed up. So if you've exceeded your company's email size, this is a great way to get a lot of that data off without actually deleting it. And whenever it is you want to look at that data, you can just go to File, then choose Open, and you can choose Open Outlook Data File, and you can look for your file. There it is, back up. And then it opens it in its own separate location. So you can see Outlook Data File, and we can see that same email that we just exported, but we're opening it now from a local file. In Outlook 2019, you can export your email, all your data, your contacts, everything off to a file, but sometimes you want to filter it so you only get specific results when you go to export your data. So we can go to File at the top, Open and Export, and from here we'll click on Import Export, and we'll choose Export to a File and click Next. Let's choose the PST option, click Next, and then we'll click on the Filter button. So from here we can do specific word searches, and we can also choose in the subject field or in the message body or both. And then we've got also frequently used texts as well. We can also filter by from or sent to. If we check this little box here, where I am, we see a new box drop down show up. The only person on the to line, on the to line with other people, or also on the CC line with other people. So this is basically who you're sending to. You can also choose by time, so sent, received, etc., and then you could choose the time. So this is a great way to do a quick filter, and which we're going to do here in just a second. You also have additional choices under More Choices. You can click on Categories. So if any of these emails are categorized by color, you can go ahead and choose that. You can choose only items that are read, unread, only items with one or more attachments, so you can do it by attachments. You could do it importance, whether it's normal, high, low, etc. You could choose only items with which that are flagged by someone, We can also choose match case, which really gets granular as well, and of course the size of the email. So it could be larger or smaller than, etc., a specific size. If we click on the advanced items, we can do even more damage and look at all of these different options that you can filter. Let's do a simple filter here at the top. We'll search for the word, and we see I've got a whole bunch of different Office emails here. So I'm just going to type the word Office, and we'll say in the subject field, we'll say subject field and message body. Click OK, and we'll click at the top so we make sure we get all subfolders that have that same information. Click Send. As far as the option goes here, if this is the first time we've ever exported using this particular name, then it doesn't really matter which option you choose because you're not going to have any duplicates. So let's just call this a filtered PST, and then we'll click Finish. If we want, we can protect it using a password. Let's go ahead and click OK. We don't need a password at this time. And now we've got our filtered PST file. Let's go ahead and go to Properties, and we can see it's 4 megabytes. Now this is the full backup that we see here that we did in a previous video. We can see that's 8 megabytes. So it definitely just got the email with the word Office in it. So what I can do now is go to File and go to Open and Export, go to Open Outlook Data File, go to the desktop, choose my filtered option, and I can just scroll down to the bottom and I can choose to expand on it, and now I see just the email with the word Office in it. So that's how you choose the filtered option when you go to export email and other information that may be in Outlook 2019. Let's take a look in Outlook 2019 and how we can export just our contacts rather than all of our email, contacts, and calendar. We just want to export our contacts. So if I click on contacts, you can see I've just got the one here, and I want to export that to a file, and that way I can back it up or I can mail that off to somebody else and they can have all my contacts. So let's go to the top where it says File, and let's choose where it says Open and Export, and then Import Export, and then we're going to choose the Export to a File. Let's go ahead and click Next. Make sure we choose the PST option. Click Next. And from here, we just want to choose our contacts. And we've got a lot of different things to choose from in here, but you may only see one thing. You may just see what it looks like here. But if you have multiple accounts, you may see multiple things there. All right, so all I want to do is just export my contacts, so I'll click on Contacts. Now, if I have any sub-contact folders, which I don't, and I want those as well, I can choose the box that says Include Subfolders, but I don't have any of those. So let's make sure I just select the contacts, click Next, and then let's click on Browse, and we'll call this Contacts, and we'll choose our location. I'm going to choose the desktop, so it could, because it's easy to find that way. Now, if this is the first time you've done this, you don't need to worry about the options. It doesn't matter which one you choose. It'll all end up looking the same. However, if you export this a second time and you want to overwrite the files from the first time, you can choose whether or not to replace, allow, or do not export any duplicates. We'll go ahead and click Finish. From here, you can go ahead and protect your file with a password if you'd like. In my case, I don't need to. Let's go ahead and click OK. And now I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, and we see there's our contact. So if I right-click on that and choose Properties, we can see there is some data in there. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to open that contacts file just to make sure it shows my data. So I'll go to File, and I'll go to choose to open and export again. But this time I'm going to choose the Open Outlook Data File. We'll go to the desktop, and we'll choose Contacts. There we go. So now our contacts have been selected, and we click on the Contacts button at the bottom, and from here I'm going to choose Contacts from an Outlook data file. Now I don't see anything in that one, so that must not be the one. We'll click this other one. Oh, there it is. Outlook data file, and there's my contact. Now if I don't want to see it anymore, I've got something like this one that doesn't have anything in it, you can right-click on it and choose to delete or close the file. And now it's gone. And once again, there's my Outlook data file, And there's my regular contacts. And then if I have another account in here, like I do, then you'll see a contacts for the other account. And that's how you export and open contacts in Outlook 2019. In Outlook 2019, there is a way to delete emails so they cannot be restored, of course, unless someone has done a offsite backup of the emails. But if you want to keep people from being able to restore any email on your computer, I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and click on the deleted items in Outlook. And we're going to click on Recover Items Recently Removed. Now, I know that sounds like the opposite of what we want, but go ahead and click on it. And then we're going to see this option here, Purge Selected Items. This will keep those items from ever coming back. So let's go ahead and highlight all of these items. We want to get rid of all of them. So let's go ahead and click OK. It says, hey, these are going to be permanently deleted. You're not going to be able to recover these items. Go ahead and click OK. And it usually takes anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes, depending on how many you're going to delete. All right, now let's go ahead and click on the Recover Deleted Items again. You can click on the button here, or you can click on the link here. Either way, it doesn't matter. And look at that. Those items are no longer there, so you can no longer recover them. Now, of course, you can still recover them if you have a backup from, say, from the server level. But from the workstation level itself, these items are deleted. So if you do get an email the same day, you delete it, and then you purge it after it's deleted from the deleted items, and it never had a chance to get backed up on the server, then it'll definitely not be recoverable. So if you need to do something like that, then that would be one way to do it, where it would be unrecoverable. And this is, of course, in Outlook 2019, but this also works in Outlook 2016 as well. Or in Outlook 2019, I'm going to show you how to recover deleted items from the deleted folder. So first off, let's just delete a few items here. Let's go ahead and hit the delete key. Let's go to our deleted items, and we see those 3 items. Now let's go ahead and select them. We're going to delete them from the deleted folder. So let's go ahead and choose delete. It says this is going to be a permanent deletion. Continue. Yes. All right, so is it really permanent? Well, not really, because if you've deleted it within the last 30 days, which is the default amount of time, and you can change that through Exchange and PowerShell if you need to, then you can go to the Recover Items Recently Removed from this folder. So we click on that, and look at that. We can see the items deleted from the deleted folder, and we can then recover them. So let's go ahead and choose one of those emails and choose to restore the selected item. So let's go ahead and click OK. And we just go back into our deleted items, and there it is back again. So sometimes it takes a few seconds before it will come back, so you just have to be prepared. That's not going to happen immediately within the time when you click the button. However, in this particular case, it happened in about 5 seconds. So we've got our email, and if we want to re-delete that, you can click the delete key once again. So that's how you can get your emails back after they've been deleted from the deleted items, and usually by default that's within 30 days of having deleted them. In Outlook 2019, there's a way that you can see the size of your mailbox. So let's take a look. First we'll go to the File menu, and then we'll go down to where it says Tools. Now you can see mailbox settings. You can see a little bit about the size of your mailbox. So it says here that basically I'm using just under 1 gigabyte. So I don't have a really large mailbox here. But you can see additional information by going to the Mailbox Cleanup tool and clicking on the View Mailbox Size. Now we see the local data I'm using is a total of about, it says 12,000 kilobytes, which is about 12 megabytes. So it's not a real big mailbox, but it just gives you an idea of how to see this. And so you can see what each folder has in size-wise. Now, if you go to the server data, it's going to take a little bit longer to have this pop up, but it'll go and see how much data you have on the server. And in this particular case, you're going to see that there's more data on the server. You see 13 megabytes instead of just 12. So why is that? In your case, it might even be a greater difference. Well, that's because when you delete emails, it's going to stay
on the server mailbox for up to 30 days by default. You can also change that to be longer or shorter. Now, the other reason that you may see a different amount of different size server to local data is by how much data you're caching. So let's click on back, and we'll click on File and Account Settings. There we go, Account Settings. And if you double click on your account, then you can see how much you're caching. Now, I'm caching all of my emails. So basically, the difference between the server and the local data is just the deleted emails. But in your case, you might see that it's set to, maybe by default, which is either 3 or 6 months. And so you're going to see a lot less locally cached data. So if you want to see all of your email, when cached locally, so that way you can see that email even if you're offline, then make sure you slide that to all. We're back at our mailbox tools showing the size and the total size of all of our different folders and subfolders as well. There's nothing you can really do with this data right here. The only way you can really clear that out or make changes to it is by clicking the empty to empty the deleted items folder permanently, so that way it'll match the server and local copy, or you can delete other items as well.